So for those who hate the rumored design of iPhone 17, I come bearing bad news because it seems things are falling into place and Apple's finalising the new humongous camera module, so let's delve into these new rumours. Courtesy of Mijumbu, we have an image of iPhone 17 Pro machine parts from an assembly line that confirm the design we've been hearing for the last few weeks. There's the familiar triple lens layout, but the LiDAR scanner, mic and flash have moved to the right sides, and it's all encompassed within a rectangular module at the top now. By the way, we have no idea what the material of the chassis is in this image. Rumours have been saying Apple's switching to aluminium, but we don't know for sure right now. Yes, you may be confused, why is Apple even considering aluminium in the first place? Isn't titanium way more durable? Well, I reckon aluminium allows the Pro phones to come more fun colours, and that could entice consumers. It's also going to be cheaper for Apple, and it's easier to manufacture. There is also a larger circular opening, which will probably be for internal components like the battery and MagSafe coil, but there have been some rumours that we could either see Apple use a glass logo that allows for wireless charging, since apparently the backplate's going to be part aluminium, part glass, and so they might be making space for that. Or there's a larger cutout here that makes way for a new reverse wireless charging feature that's also been heavily rumoured. They've apparently been testing 7.5 watt reverse wireless charging on prototype iPhone 17 Pros, which means you can now charge AirPods on the back of your phone. That would be very clutch. But I will mention that this has been heavily rumoured for a while. I remember hearing rumours about this as far back as the iPhone 11 days, and yet we still don't have the feature. Now let's move on to iPhone 17 Air. Remember how everyone thought the 17 Air was going to be razor thin? Well, apparently that might not be the case. So Minchico in a new report suggests the iPhone 17 Air could be 9.5mm. That is considerably thicker than expected. But before we get more into that, a sub to the channel would be appreciated. It's free and will bring you the latest about Apple right to the subscription box, so please consider it. Join the Saranbyte gang now. Anyway, previous rumours have been suggesting that including the camera bump, the device should be 5.64mm. Now Code does say at its thinnest point the device should be 5.5mm, so basically that does suggest the camera bump itself is going to add 4mm to the device, which is pretty insane. Now yes, I know we have humongous camera bumps on current iPhones, and it's about to get bigger, and the 17 Air does have the same 14 megapixel sensor as other iPhone models, and so I guess I should not be too surprised by this, but I'm hoping they can make the camera bump thinner considering there's only one lens on this device. So yes, please make it smaller than 4mm. Though to be honest, even if it's 9mm at its thickest point, that's still thinner than most modern iPhones, and that is the goal with the 17 Air. It's supposed to be thinner than most modern iPhones, but I'm really hoping it's actually razor thin like the rumors initially pointed towards. Let's now talk about thermal upgrades. So Chinese leaker Instant Digital says Apple is going to incorporate a vapor chamber heatsink for better thermals, which by the way has been reported in the past by another source called MyDrivers. This technology is already popular in the Android space, and if you're wondering how it works, essentially these chambers spread heat evenly across a large surface area, and this prevents thermal throttling so that the device can maintain its peak performance for longer. This is great news for the Genshin Impact nerds who game on their phones for many hours, but it's not just a benefit for gamers. Taking lots of photos and videos can heat up your device, and to improve thermals improve the camera experience as well, since the phone likely wouldn't be forced to dim the screen to make up for it overheating. Now of course I do want to mention the iPhone 16 models did have thermal upgrades which made a difference in my testing. I believe they included a graphene sheet to dissipate heat, but a vapor chamber will make an even bigger difference when you're pushing the device in extreme conditions like gaming or heavy usage of the camera, and ultimately I'll take any thermal upgrades. It is going to improve the user experience. MyDrivers had suggested the complete iPhone 17 range was going to get this, by the way, and that made sense to me because with the Air especially being so razor thin, that needs better thermals to prevent any overheating issues. But Instant Digital claims only the Pro phones with the A19 Pro are getting a vapor chamber system, so that those devices can maintain high performance under heavy workloads with virtually no throttling, which is cool, but I would also like to see that with the complete range. And do remember the complete iPhone 16 range did get the graphene sheet, so I think the complete iPhone 17 range should get this upgrade. Now let's talk about the possibilities of a smaller island on the 17 Pro. Chinese leaker Digital Chat Station had said the island would be smaller because apparently there's a new meta lens for Face ID that integrates the transmitter and receiver components, and so basically in layman's terms, they're shrinking the Face ID components, and that allows the island to be smaller. But Instant Digital now claims that apparently this year Apple's focusing on the back and internals of the device, and so the front should look near identical to the 16 Pro with the same bezel size and island. That's not a deal breaker, but it's a little disappointing because we've now had 3 generations of Pro iPhones with the same exact dynamic island, so I thought we would get a smaller island this year. Plus, it would help differentiate the Pro phones, since only those would likely get the new island, whereas the regular phones would have the older island, and so that's a clear visual difference that sets them apart. But I guess we have to wait even longer to get that, or maybe Apple's waiting for under-display technology to improve so that they can jump straight to a notchless display. Personally, I don't see under-display cameras getting better in the next year or so I do eventually think Apple's going to either adopt a smaller pill or a punch-hole camera similar to Android devices. We also have iPhone 17 models from YouTuber iDeviceHelp, however the information he got to make these are from Twitter leaker Mijinbu, who had shared the machine parts I discussed earlier. So yes, to no one's surprise, these line up with that, and they show off the new camera module on the Pro phones. It's not just models we have, by the way, we have case mockups, where we see the design in more realistic renders, and yeah, I need to let this design grow on me, aka I don't really like it that much right now, but I kind of think it will grow on me because I vividly remember hating the iPhone 11 Pro renders, and then we saw the final design and I was like, actually, that doesn't look too bad. So the same could happen with iPhone 17. Even the first Apple Watch Ultra renders were really ugly, but now I actually like the design, and so that seems to be the case with a lot of Apple designs as of late. We have to let it marinate and let it grow on us. And there are very nice renders based on these models, and so yeah, I know for sure I will eventually like this design when we see the final renders. Now moving to the regular models, if you don't like the new camera modules, the regular 17 is for you because it looks near identical to the iPhone 16, but the Air does have a new camera module with a horizontal bar at the top that houses a single lens on the back alongside a mic and flash. The device will also be slightly smaller than the Pro Max at 6.6 inches. The 17 may also be one of the first iPhones to get a higher density battery. Now I think it makes sense to use this technology on a device that's naturally going to have space constraints because it will be so thin, and so high density battery allows for a lot of energy to be stored within a small physical space. Essentially, Apple could give us a 4000 mAh battery that's actually physically small and fits into this very thin device. And so that combined with a very efficient C1 means battery life should be solid on the Air, which is good to see because that was undoubtedly a concern many would have with such a thin device. And it's not just the Air getting a bigger battery, the Pro Max is also getting a battery boost. Leaker Ice Universe mentions the device will be getting even thicker, with it now being 8.25mm in thickness, which is a 0.475 increase due to a larger battery. Now, two things I'm wondering about. Number one, are we going to see a bigger battery on the regular 17 and 17 Pro? I hope that's the case. And number two, are we getting the higher density batteries only on the iPhone 17 Air, or is the complete range getting this? I'm guessing because it's new technology, only the Air gets it for now, but since there's no space constraints as such with the Pro Max, they can just pack this to the brim with a humongous regular lithium-ion battery, and it would be nice if we could get a 5000 mAh battery in the Pro Max. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.